All right, so we're doing solving a compound inequality. I rewrote the problem and I just put a little note since we're saying it's and. That's where we're looking for where an answer is for both of them. So I always use an underline when I'm looking at these answers, and it's going to be where there's shading for both answers. If it was an or, then it's wherever there's shading. So you don't have to look for just the overlap. These ones we're going to solve just like we'd solve an equation. We're not going to change the inequality to an equation because that just induces problems. The only thing that we have to remember when we have inequalities is if we divide both sides by, multiply or divide both sides by a negative, we have to flip the inequality, which we're going to have to do over here. So I want to get the x by itself. So I'm first going to subtract my 4. I'm going to do one of these at a time because it's really like I have two problems to do in one. So I have 2x is less than 6. Divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2. So I have the less than, and I have 3 and x. All right, solving the other one. And then I'm going to look at my answers, put it in on my number line and that stuff. So I'm going to divide both sides by -4 because that's the coefficient of x and there's nothing else there. Divide by -4. Since I divided by a negative, automatically I'm going to turn my inequality around before I do anything else so I don't forget to do it. And then it's x is greater than 6. All right, so I like to put my numbers in order from smallest to largest. So this is going to be on my number line. And we might do another one of these just because we can. So I have 3 and I have 6. Those are my important numbers. And when I'm standing at 3, it is an open circle because it doesn't have the or equal to. And x is by the smaller part of that inequality. So I need to go here. And then when I'm at 6, x is greater than. Now, when I'm looking at these, since it's an and problem, there is no overlap on this one. So there's no overlap, which means it had to be for both of them because it said and. So this is actually the empty set. There's no solution. That one, we will type in the circle with the line through it, which means no solution. Remember, that is not a 0. That is just meaning the empty set. So that's why I don't do zeros with lines through them. When we check it, we should be good, and we should really do another one of these. So we will set that up in just a second. Delete this work, get our new problem, and copy it over. This time we have an or. All right, so we've copied our problem over. Remember, we have an or. That means we want any shading. So whatever shading we have, it doesn't have to be an overlap. It's just anything that has a shading. Yet again, we're going to do each problem separately. So we're going to get the u by itself by getting rid of this 1 on both sides. So I have 3u is less than 6. Divide by 3. And I get u is less than 2. Get u by itself here, so subtract 3. We have 2u is less than 10. Divide by 2. U is less than 5. All right, so that looks kind of weird when we're looking at it. They both have less thans, but that is okay. We have our number 2. We have our number 5. They both have open circles. And if it was an or I was looking at stuff like that, then I would have to worry about overlaps and stuff. But so u is by the smaller part of the inequality. So when I'm standing at 2, I want smaller numbers. So that goes this way. U is by the smaller number when I'm at 5. So it's going this way. It's actually going to overtake this one. Even though I had an open circle at -2, since I'm talking any shading, I do actually get to count the 2. So the only thing that I'm going to be dealing with is everything. This one overtakes the other one. So that's actually going to be our answer. And in interval notation, that is going to be -infinity, which always gets rounded, and it goes to 5. 5 is not included. It's an open circle, so it gets rounded as well. And we will type that in, and we will be done, hopefully, unless we did something creative and it's telling us that we have wrong. So this time the parentheses match. I want negative infinity, and then I want 5. And that's how we're going to do it. So we might have 2 endpoints. We might have 2 different parts in that inequality. Remember, if it's got a break in it, that's where we do that U. I will try to see if we have another example with that. Otherwise, we will just call this good. Okay, so one more. This is another OR problem. We have the two inequalities that we're going to solve. We're going to get y by itself this time. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. And you get 4y is greater than 16 divided by 4. And you get y is greater than 4. Solving this one, we're going to subtract 2. Now, negative 10 and negative 2 have the same sign, so we add them, and we have negative 12 is less than or equal to 2y. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. Now, this is good on the fact that I divided by a 2, but my answer is negative. I keep the inequality exactly as it is because it's only if I divide or multiply by negative that I change the sign, the direction. All right, so we've got those two. We're going to put them on a number line. Yeah, y would go up and down, but I always do my number lines going across, so I'm really thinking x's. Smallest number is negative 6. Biggest number is 4. If I'm at negative 6, I have the closed dot because it's the or equal to. And at 4, I have the open dot. And now I have to think of my shading. So when I'm sitting at 4, the y is by the bigger part of the inequality, so the shading has to go to the bigger part. When I'm at negative 7, the y is by the pointier part, the smaller part, so it's going this way. So remember, this is an or, so I want all shading. If it was an and, there's no overlapping here. So we are going to write for each part of it. So this goes from negative infinity to negative 6, and that is a closed circle, so it is that. There is a gap. The gap gets the u. And then I have, pick it up again, open circle at 4, and it's going to infinity. And that is what I have to type into my answers. And we will make sure we can type it. So I need this one with negative infinity going to negative 6. And then I need my u. And then I need the 2 parentheses because they match. And I go 4 until infinity. Check my answer. And I'm good. All right, so hopefully that'll help. All the 3 different ways that we could get these problems. We could also have just the endpoints with one shading. So let me know if you have any questions.